I need to get this off my chest because, honestly, I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality. Everyone around me is acting like I'm the crazy one, and I'm starting to wonder if they're right. My name is Marissa, I'm 29, and my entire marriage has crumbled. Apparently because asking for basic respect makes me some sort of villain. My husband, Nathan, is 31. We've been married for 3 years, together for 7 in total. For most of that time I believed we had a solid, loving relationship, until about 6 months ago when everything began to unravel. Let me explain from the beginning so you can understand the storm I'm caught in. Nathan works in logistics for a large freight company. Scheduling deliveries, managing shipments, that sort of thing. I work as a patient coordinator at a busy healthcare clinic, dealing with insurance paperwork, medical scheduling, and an endless stream of stressed patients and demanding doctors. We're not wealthy, but we've built a modest, comfortable life, owning a small house in a quiet neighborhood, both driving reliable cars. We were living the suburban dream on paper. Nathan, to outsiders, is exactly the kind of man many women say they want. Loyal, responsible, steady. He doesn't gamble, doesn't drink heavily, and comes home every evening. From the outside it all looked perfect. But here's what no one tells you. Sometimes the perfect man can still drive you absolutely insane, but in a way you'd never expect. When Nathan and I first got together, I was completely swept off my feet by how affectionate he was. He was always touching me, grabbing my waist, pulling me close for kisses, whispering flirty things in my ear. He constantly complimented me. How I looked, how I smelled, how much he desired me. He made me feel like the most beautiful woman in the world, even when I was wearing sweatpants. First, I loved it. My friends were jealous, especially those whose boyfriends barely noticed when they got dressed up. But here was Nathan, making me feel like a goddess just for walking through the room. But over time, around year 4 or 5, it started wearing me down. What once felt flattering slowly turned suffocating. Everything became sexual with him. I couldn't even bend down to pick up something off the floor without him making some comment about my body. I couldn't hug him without feeling him press himself against me. Even when I was sick, he'd still find ways to grope or make a suggestive remark. It felt like I could no longer exist in my own home without being treated like a toy designed solely for his pleasure. The tension built slowly over months. My job was crushing me. Insurance issues, furious patients, endless bureaucracy. By the time I got home, I was emotionally fried, just begging for peace and quiet. But Nathan never missed a beat. The moment I walked in, it wasn't, "How was your day?" It was, "You look so hot in that outfit." It wasn't even about intimacy anymore, it was about control. He wanted to claim every moment, every glance, every touch. I started hinting for him to cool it down. I'd change the subject when he'd make a sexual comment. I'd stiffen when he grabbed me unexpectedly. I tried to laugh it off with sarcastic jokes about men being predictable. I thought surely he'd get the message. But nothing changed. He kept doing it, like he physically couldn't stop himself. I began noticing how he treated others. His friends, co-workers, even strangers. He was respectful, attentive, thoughtful. He'd listen, ask questions, engage in meaningful conversations. But with me, it always circled back to my body. It became crystal clear. He wasn't seeing me anymore. He only saw the body he wanted. 6 months ago, after the worst week of my career, our clinic's computer system crashed, we lost patient data, and I was staying late every night in a panic. I hit my breaking point. One night, I was folding his work shirts when he came up behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. He started kissing my neck and grinding against me. Froze. I spun around, stared him in the eye and said, "I am sick of being sexualized every second of every day. It's honestly disgusting." My voice came out sharper than I intended, but I meant every word. Nathan looked stunned, like I'd slapped him. But I couldn't stop myself. "I can't even fold laundry without you getting turned on," I continued. "I'm not just some body for you to grope whenever you feel like it. Have feelings. Have stress. And all you care about is getting off." He stammered something about how it was just natural for him to be attracted to me and that he was just showing affection, but I was done listening. There's a difference between love and objectification, I snapped. Love is seeing me as a whole person, not just a sexual object. For the first time I saw him shrink back, realizing I wasn't bluffing. I laid down my boundary. No more groping, no more sexual comments unless I initiated them, no more constant physical advances. I told him bluntly that I wanted to be seen as a human being first. That night, Nathan slept on the couch. He claimed it was to give me space. I actually went to bed thinking we'd made a breakthrough, that I'd finally been heard. But the next morning everything felt different. Nathan became polite but cold. No more kisses goodbye. No morning coffee for me like usual. No touches. No compliments. He kept his distance, almost like he was afraid to even look at me. First I thought he just needed time to adjust. But weeks passed and it never changed. He stopped flirting entirely. He wouldn't even hug me. He treated me like a stranger. Our conversations became transactional. Bills, groceries, errands. When I tried to talk about it, he'd reply with passive-aggressive comments like, "I'm just respecting your boundaries." He was technically doing what I'd asked, but it felt deliberate, like he was punishing me for setting limits. Hated it. I missed feeling wanted, but not in the way it had been before. I wanted balanced affection, emotional connection first, with physical intimacy as a natural extension of it. But every time I tried to explain, he'd twist it back at me. "I thought my attraction to you was disgusting. I thought you wanted me to stop." It became obvious he wasn't trying to compromise at all. He was done trying. Months passed. We became strangers living in the same house. No fighting, no warmth, no intimacy, just silence. Then, 5 months after that initial fight, Nathan told me he had a week-long business trip in Dallas. Usually we'd text constantly during his trips. This time, almost nothing. Just a few basic updates about his flight and hotel. No miss you. No late-night calls. It hit me then. For the first time in years, neither of us seemed to care that we were apart. When he returned, he was different. Not cold, but distant, resigned. That Sunday night he asked to talk. I knew instantly it was serious. Sitting across from me at the kitchen table, he said quietly, "I've done a lot of thinking. About us. About what we both need." I braced myself. "I don't think we're compatible anymore," he said. My stomach sank. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice shaking. "We've been together for 7 years. We were compatible," Nathan said calmly but firmly. "But not anymore. I want a partner who embraces how I show love, not one who makes me feel ashamed for it." I tried to explain that I hadn't meant to shame him, but he cut me off. "While I was in Dallas, I met someone at a conference mixer," he continued. "We just talked, nothing happened, but for the first time in months I felt appreciated again." She laughed at my jokes. She made me feel wanted. I saw red. "So you're leaving me for some random woman?" "No," he said firmly. "I'm leaving because being around her made me realize how miserable I've been. I don't want to live like this anymore, feeling like a burden in my own marriage." I protested, saying we could go to therapy, we could work on it, but he shook his head. "I'm not interested in fixing this," he said, and I could tell he meant it. "I'm tired of walking on eggshells. Tired of feeling rejected in my own home. I'm done suppressing who I am to make you comfortable." I accused him of throwing away 7 years because of one conversation. But he shot back. "You threw it away the moment you told me my attraction was disgusting." And in that moment, I realized the terrible truth. I had been so desperate to feel respected that I'd torn down the one thing that had once been beautiful between us. In the weeks that followed, we separated quietly. Our love reduced to paperwork and logistics, just like everything else in the end. And now, here I am, alone, confused, and haunted by the question. Was I asking too much? Or did we just stop speaking the same language long before either of us realized?